Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Red, White, and True News, where life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is alive and well. Glad everyone could join us on this fine, Super Bowl. I think it's Super Bowl Sunday, isn't it? But so hope everyone is doing good. We're gonna go over some stuff here. Chris will be back here in just a second. If everyone doesn't know Mr. Brutally Honest, that's exactly what he is. Brutally honest. So we're going to get into the SAVE Act, which was actually, it was voted on in the House back in April. I think it was April the 10th or something like that. And it's been sitting in the Senate. It supposedly was going to be voted on in February. So that's what all this crap that's going on right now. It's being talked about by Schumer and all of his people. That ain't going to get no Democrat votes in the Senate and blah, 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 blah. So, well, let me ask you, everybody, why wouldn't you want voter ID saying that you're a U.S. citizen and a law-abiding citizen to vote in our elections in the United States of America? Why? Why wouldn't you want that? You know, I mean, seems kind of like a no-brainer to me, doesn't it, you? So, anyway, we'll get into that here in just a second. Chris is getting him a cup of coffee.
I'm back.
All right, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you? I've survived a winter storm.
Another one?
Oh, the one that came through here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that was a dandy, wasn't it?
The one that froze all of y'all's iguanas down there.
Yeah. Man, at one point we had 0-degree wind chills down here.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I seen a video of like 4 or 5 dump trucks full of iguanas.
Oh, really?
One old boy was saying something about he had a couple in his backyard, so he went and processed them and had iguana tacos.
Oh, geez. I didn't know people even eat things.
He said it was good.
Really?
Yeah, he said it was really good.
Holy crap. I didn't even know you could eat it.
It'd be like eating deer meat.
Huh.
You know, very lean.
Yeah. Well, when it gets under 40 degrees, those things they're an invasive species to begin with. So, I mean, they shouldn't even be here. But yeah, it gets right under 40 degrees that I guess their bodies constrict or something like that. And I had a couple of them growing up, man, and they always had to be under a heat lamp.
Huh.
So they're a warm weather animal, but yeah,
there's a lot less of them now. There's a lot less of them now.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
Too bad it didn't get them.
Yeah, you got that right, man. They definitely. You know, you can't shoot them things when you hunt them down there. You got to beat them to death, or you got to stab them.
They won't let you shoot them?
Nope, they will not let you shoot them.
That sounds just as stupid. That sounds just as stupid as California and the wolves.
What's with the wolves? You can't shoot them either?
Nope. They passed a law you cannot shoot, trap, hunt wolves at all. Even if you see them killing livestock in California, you cannot do nothing to them. If they're out there killing your cattle, killing your calves, you have to leave them alone. You got to let them just kill them.
I'd kill them. Take my chances. You start taking money out of my pocket, I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
I knew a fish and feather guy, which is Department of Fish and Wildlife. But anyway, I met this fish and feather guy. Told me many years ago when they was reintroducing them wolves up in Montana. He said, "Do me a favor, do the 3 S's, because I don't want all the paperwork." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Paperwork is about 50 pages worth." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yep. So just do the 3 S's." I said, "Oh, that's not a problem with me." And in case you guys don't know, ranch hand terminology is shoot them, show them, and shut up.
I've never heard that before. That's pretty good. Wow. Yeah, that's good, man. Huh. Well,
so what do we know this week?
I was going to go over this HR 22, which is known as the SAVE Act. For everyone that does not know, this bill was passed in the House back on, let's see, the bill sponsor was Chip Roy. Everyone knows him from Texas. Yeah. So on April the 10th, and it's been sitting in the Senate and not voted on ever since. So that's the bigger uproar right now with the Democrats is they don't want people to have to basically prove who they are before they vote. So what does that tell everyone? It tells me they want to cheat like they did in the 2020 election. But basically, layman's terms, the bill requires individuals to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections. Now, this comes right from Congress.gov for everyone, so it's legit. Specifically, the bill prohibits states from accepting and processing an application to register to vote in a federal election unless the applicant presents documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. The bill specifies what documents are considered acceptable proof under U.S. citizenship, such as identification that complies with the Real ID Act of 2005 that indicates U.S. citizenship. Further, the bill, 1, prohibits states from registering an individual to vote in a federal election unless, at the time the individual applies to register to vote, the individual provides documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, and 2, requires states to establish an alternative process under which an applicant may submit other evidence to demonstrate U.S. citizenship. So without, getting too much into the weeds here, basically the gripe is that the Democrats are saying that, well, when a woman gets married and she changes her maiden name or whatever, her 5th last name, then she's going to have to provide all these documents saying such. Well, that ain't really, no. So as long as you can produce a birth certificate or a passport, you prove citizenship. You don't have to go walk up there with a whole folder full of documentation. See, this is the crap the Democrats do, folks. I mean, look, they've advocated for voter ID many times before. But see, now it's part of, like I've said many times in my videos, revolution by immigration. That's why they wanted all these immigrants here, so they could vote for them. Well, unless they're a U.S. citizen, they cannot vote. And that's what this right here will dictate, is that they have to prove that they're a U.S. citizen to vote. So they know if they lose this battle, they may never win another presidential election. Or it may be a very long time. So I don't know what your take is on it, Chris, but I don't agree with it at all. That you should have to.
The idiocracy that's coming out of that square mile, 10 mile by 10 mile square mile place, that sovereign place is called Washington, D.C., is so full of idiots. It's just unreal. Yeah. It is common knowledge to any human being having to deal in life in America. For one, you have a driver's license. If you don't have a driver's license, you can get a state ID. In order to get a state ID, you got to prove who you are, which is, i.e., a birth certificate, i.e., something with your name on it, your age, where you reside, who you are, basically in general. Now, here's something else to think about. With the carpetbaggers, that's all up there in that 10 mile by 10 mile square region. They are so idiotic that they're trying to put this forward, and they're trying to say, oh, no. People don't know how to go get a driver's license. People don't have access to the internet. People don't have vehicles. Really? 99% of the time, they say it's the black community does not have the ability to do that. Okay? Yeah. How many times have you seen some of the most low down people that's down on their luck that you can imagine have a cell phone. Almost every single one of them. Almost every single one of them do. Because they can go to any Walmart and pick up a phone for $35 and pay like $30 a month for a plan. That's it. That's it. So everybody's got a phone. But yet, them carpetbaggers up there want you to believe that there is a group of citizens out here who don't know how to prove who they are. They don't have the means to be able to prove who they are in order to get this stuff. Now, they just passed this legislation and it's becoming legal for all 50 states. It's called the Real ID. My driver's license right now is not a real ID. It's a regular driver's license. Now, what most people don't realize is when you go renew your driver's license and they say, oh, you have to get the real ID. So guess what? When you get the real ID, guess what you have to provide? Not only your last driver's license, but you do have to provide a certified birth certificate. You have to provide your social security number and a card. You got to provide all the information that proves who you are and where you live at. No, you can't use P.O. boxes or anything like that. It has to be an address where you reside at. So they passed this Real ID Act when Obama was in office, and it's just now really coming in force. So why do we need to pass more legislation saying, hey, we need somehow for you to prove who you are? It's the most idiotic thing I've ever seen, because since days of Reagan, they've been saying we need to make sure people that vote are who they say they are. Now, if you guys have been paying attention, just in this last year, it's really come to light how many people have been voting, how many people have been getting welfare money, how many people have been getting Social Security checks that are deceased, that are no longer living. How many billions of dollars have went to these people, but yet they're allowed to vote? How can somebody that's died? Oh, yeah, and what about the ones that was a dog? Yes, you heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. There was ones that were voting that was a dog, because that dog was also getting disability checks, getting death benefits, getting Social Security, all this stuff. Billions upon billions of dollars. So why do we need more legislation that they're not going to uphold in the first damn place, saying that you need to prove who you are? Okay, show me proof. Now, here where I live, in the flyover state of Oklahoma, in my little county here, not only do I have to provide an ID, but they can, and they have it printed out. They can ask you for a copy of your electric bill, your water bill, power bill, or any kind of bill proving you are who you are. That says that on the driver's license, because it has an address that's on your driver's license. It's kind of like, okay, well, that's good. Now, as far as women getting married and changing their names, and they got to provide all this stuff to do it, I've been married 3 times. And all 3 of my ex-wives have changed their last name to mine. They've all changed their last name back to their maiden name after we got divorced, but it's an easy process. It's a very easy process. It took less than a week to do. They put paperwork in, whoop, everything was done. Their last name was changed to my name. We got divorced, took a week, their name was changed back. So what kind of idiots in Washington, D.C. thinks that women and a certain group of people don't have the ability to be able to provide the information that's needed in order to vote and verify who they are? And see, this is where the quantum mindset of the idiots in Washington, D.C. just boggles my mind, because it's like taking 2 nutheads and knocking them together and you hear nothing but hollow. I mean,
yeah.
Two monkeys screwed a football to see which one's going to do what.
Yeah.
That's my thought on it.
Yeah. Well, it's one of them things, though, where what do they start screaming right before every election? The GOP, the Republicans are going to take your rights away to vote. You're not going to be able. The blacks ain't going to be able to vote. Okay, I've never seen one black person have a problem walking into a polling station and voting. They have nothing else to run on. They ain't got nothing substantive to run on.
It's the race card.
It's always the race. You got it, man. It is always the damn race card.
Now you're talking about the party that says they're for the people, but yet this is the same party that started and ran the KKK.
That's right.
Had a grand master as a senator. Senator Byrd.
Yep.
Senator Byrd. Joe Biden was a member of the KKK. Byrd was his hero. Byrd was his mentor.
Yep.
You know, now where you live, Jay, you have more people of different backgrounds than I do right here. Yeah. Right here, it's 99% Mexican and white. That's it. But where you're at, you have a more diverse group of people. But everybody that I know here don't have a problem. But the Mexicans still have problems with the political parties because they're trying to go to them and say, look how bad everything is for you guys. But here's the funny part about it. If they was to come up here and see what the Mexicans are doing versus what we're doing, Mexicans are getting off better than we are. They really are. 90% of the ones I know, not only do they get a paycheck, but they also send money back to Mexico or wherever they're from every time they get paid. They send a buttload of money home. And they're always driving good vehicles, got nice clothes on, and they work their butts off, and they do a lot of jobs nobody else wants to do, but they're all doing it the right way. But here's the funny part. You got all them yahoos up there in Washington, D.C. that don't know their head from their ass, speaking out of their butt, like they know exactly what the American citizen is dealing with every single day, but yet they don't have a damn clue what we deal with every day. And ever since Trump won the election, a year and what, a couple of days now, since he's been in office, a year and a month, say, ever since then, this race card has come back up again about how he's doing something so bad for everybody. It's kind of like, wait a minute, how was that even possible? Because there's shit was going on when Obama was in office. There's shit was going on when Biden was in office. And Kamala, she damn sure didn't help anything. But it's in the race card and we got completely away from the race stuff before Obama took office. He's the one, him and Michael are the ones that really brought it out to the forefront again.
Sure did.
But you're looking at a party called the Democrats, and that is their whole life. Everything is about race. Mm-hmm. But yet they're the first ones to create the issues. It's like, hello, ladies and gentlemen, who's the one that got legislation passed on the Democrat side to go arrest every black person you can ever imagine? Oh, yeah, Sleepy Joe Biden.
Yep.
Because he didn't want his kids going to school, as he said.
With little white kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and it's this whole thing deals nothing but race.
Party of Jim Crow.
It's bullshit.
Yep.
And Mitch McConnell's just as bad, but what's his nuts? Schumer and Mondani and Hakeem Jeffries are really pushing the race thing right now. It's because they have nothing else. They can't prove anything else. So this is what they're doing. And the problem with it is the Democrats are pros at this. They are pros because listen to everything you can. One of them says one thing, Hakeem Jeffries or Schumer or when Pelosi was there, somebody that's in power, AOC, whoever. But if they say one thing, then the very next day, every Democrat is saying that exact same thing. Every single Democrat.
Yeah, they run lockstep.
But yet the Republicans don't say anything. They don't come out against it at all. They just kind of let them just jabber their jaw. And that's where the Republicans are having a big downfall.
Yeah. Well,
they
want
don't know
you
how
to
to
believe
stand up for the people.
Well, they want you to believe that there's all this, friction and all that stuff within the GOP when there's not. They're trying to get voters to believe that so they won't turn out in the midterms.
Exactly.
It's the same MO.
They were saying how bad the economy was, how bad we're going to win because the economy's so bad, and then the shutdown happened. But guess what happened after the shutdown? All the numbers came out. Mm-hmm. Unemployment went down. GDP went up. Mm-hmm. Something's just not copacetic here, but yet the Democrats have a great way of getting their information out better than the Republicans. And they do it in a way where they kind of like browbeat you so much that you start believing it. It's like when Bill Clinton was in office and he got caught with old Monica Lewinsky. I did not have sex with that woman. He came out and lied so much, so hard that people actually believed it. And then when it found out the truth actually came out, they're kind of like, what? And then it was dropped instantly.
Yeah.
Dropped instantly. But Pelosi came out, and I forget exactly what she called it, but she said straight out in a press conference that if you say something that is not true, but yet you can smear that person by saying that, you smear it and make sure the news hears about it, and you say it enough till they start believing it, and then they'll start printing it. Next thing you know, that's all they're concentrating on. And that's what the Democrats do.
Yep.
And that's why that's why their SAVE Act is so loud right now. It's because they're pushing race.
Yeah. And speaking of Bill Clinton, I've been going through the 3.5 million pages of documents they released on the Epstein files. You got to go look at those and spend some time and look at it, man. There's videos in there. There's pictures. There's all kinds of stuff in there, man. I mean, the American people scream. They want the Epstein files. Now those people need to go and they need to spend time and look at all of them. Because
that's the problem. They're nitpicking them.
Well, here's my thing though. Does people actually think for one iota that if they had any increment of Trump being in any of those documents, do you think they would have tried to kill him? Do you think they would have tried to impeach him? Do you think that, you know what I mean? They'd have hung him on the Epstein files.
Well, why didn't Obama and then Biden go after Trump for these Epstein files?
Right. That's what I'm saying. If they had they had 4 years to sit on these files with Biden. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and not even including Obama. I mean, well, back in Obama days, the Epstein files weren't even a thing, but but Biden had 4 years. Do you think for 1 second that if Trump was in there, they wouldn't have hung him on that?
Oh, exactly. They would have. They
had their chance.
They nailed him hard. But see, that's just it. And now there's videos coming out, and I've seen a couple of different videos. John Podesta. Got him in a video. Now, here's the funny part. Bill Clinton actually came out and said, release everything. Tell everybody every single thing there is. Because he knows he's guilty, and so is Hillary. Both of them are guilty. Plus, there was testimony. I watched a video from 5 different females that were part of Epstein Island, and they said that Hillary was actually 10 times worse than Bill. And they said they'll swear to that in court. But yet, here's the funny part. They subpoena them to go testify in front of Congress. They don't show up. So now what happens? Now they referred it. They got to send it to the Senate. And then the Senate's going to say, hey, this is going to happen, or we're going to have to do this. And now supposedly they're going to come in and testify. But yet at the same time, nothing's going to happen. When was the last time you heard somebody go in front of a Senate congressional hearing and actually got arrested on crimes?
Well, so now Bill and Hillary both are whining, kicking, and screaming because they want it in an open floor setting and not behind closed doors because they think the Republicans are going to do some shady shit on them. Well, no, they're going to do it behind closed doors like they do everybody else first, and then you're going to beat it. But it's all part. They're just trying to play the game. That's all they're doing.
It's a cat and mouse show up there. That's all it is a cat and mouse show.
That's all they're doing, Chris.
And I've been remember when I used to do my YouTube thing on We Support Donald Trump?
Yeah.
When he was doing his first term. What people don't know is I've been told this by people who served up in that sovereign place, is that what you actually see on TV and in the news is this much of what actually happens. They said they were told me there's so much going on up there that you will never see it all, and there's no way you can see it all. And there's so much backstabbing, patting each other on the back, good old boy system. As long as you don't know what's going on, but yet they can make you think that you do, then that's all the better.
You got it, man. Yep. It's exactly what happens. I mean, it's the biggest cesspool in the world, DC. You know?
Yep. It's pretty damn bad, actually. But, you know, for Bill and Hillary not to come up and say, yeah, we want to test, after he said, yeah, let everybody see everything, and then they don't show up for the hearing, it's kind of like, why is he hiding? What are they hiding? Because they're hiding something. But, you know, when you have people come out and already say, we will testify in court what they did to us, especially these women, kind of like, that's pretty damn bad. But yet, how many people on these Epstein files is being charged with anything?
Well, and that's the thing. As of right now, they really can't because it's not a crime to go party on Epstein Island.
That's right.
Take a picture in a swimming pool with Epstein, it's not a crime. Now, that's what they're saying. If there are people out there that had any encounters with any of these people that were on the island, they need them to come forward.
Now, the only one that I know of that's actually had any kind of sanctions put against them was it Prince Edward? Andrew?
Yeah.
Edward in England. Other than that, nobody else has had anything done to them. Nobody.
Huh.
You know, they haven't lost businesses. They haven't lost positions. They haven't lost any damn thing. But here's the funny part. Now, this is just me and my query of a mind. I want to know how many of them are Republicans and how many of them are Democrats. And the one thing I do know for a fact is Trump cut his ties with Epstein when they had a deal at Mar-a-Lago.
Yep.
And Epstein started doing some really funky stuff with the people, with the girls. And Trump said, no. And he blacklisted him from Mar-a-Lago.
Yep.
That is public knowledge. That's common deal. And this was years ago.
Right.
And I mean years ago.
That was back in the 80s, late 80s, I think is what Trump said.
Yeah. But, you know, they're trying to push. Well, here's the thing about it. It's coming out that even during a congressional hearing, a lady was texting with Epstein. Epstein was wanting her to ask questions, and she was asking Epstein questions. Then it come out that Hakeem Jeffries, his campaign, actually got funds from Epstein.
Sure did.
But, you know, that was only on the news for like a day, and then it got squashed. And then you're not hearing anything else. But yet now you're hearing about Oprah Winfrey and Jay-Z and all these celebrities. It's kind of like, well, yeah.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, Bill Gates, of all people.
He's one of the main ones.
Yeah, Mr. Dr. Gates himself.
Bill Gates supposedly had a $1 bill in a frame. I saw a picture of it that he wrote on it. He wrote in basically an encrypted message, what basically meant that he shouldn't have taken the STD test.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why he got divorced from his wife, because she found out about all this.
Yeah, his matter of fact, I read the transcript or something from the interview that she had his ex-wife with, who the hell was it? Where basically she said that she went to Epstein Island because she wanted to know who this man was. She heard a lot about him, but she had never met him. And her husband was always disappearing and going to this guy's island. And she didn't know what they were doing. So she went. And Chris, she said she was so creeped out that she had nightmares for months. She said that man was such a vile, disgusting, self-righteous, male chauvinist pig.
Well, you know that Maxine, she has to testify this week in front of a hearing, right? In front of a congressional hearing.
Who does? Maxine Waters?
Yeah. She has to she's up to testify this coming week. But here's the funny part. Here's the funny part of all this. Dan Bongino said that when he was in the Secret Service with Bill Clinton, Air Force One and another plane that the president used with Secret Service landed on Epstein Island. And he was there, but he couldn't say nothing.
Bill was on the plane. Bill and Epstein were on a plane that Bongino was part of a detail on. And him, Clinton, and Epstein, and two young girls. Now, Bongino would not claim exactly how old these girls were because he did not know. And he cannot vouch for what they did. But they disappeared to the back of the plane on that flight to Epstein Island. And they came back out. And when that plane landed back in D.C., every one of those Secret Service members' cell phones were seized.
I was watching the video. It could a long time ago. It could have been by truth seekers, but a guy said that he actually seen flight logs of Air Force One when Bill Clinton was president of it landing at Epstein Island about 40 times.
What? 40 times? Holy crap. Wow.
You know, but here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest thing. These Democrats want to push all this bullshit. And they want to keep it going. That's fine. Keep it going. Trump came out the other day and said, you know what? It ain't got nothing to do with me. So let's go ahead and get off of it. But you know how the news is. They're just going to keep feeding the machine. They're going to keep feeding the machine because people are sheep.
That's right.
You know, they're just going to be led by the nose ring. And the news is doing it, and they're thinking, oh, yeah, because that's why we have no real news anymore. But I digress. But here's the biggest thing. I believe when everything comes out, because somebody leaked all this information, and people are seeing it, and they're starting to see people. Well, guess what? 90% of them they're seeing is Democrats. Okay, fine. But nobody's going to be charged with anything. People are finding out what they want to find out. Now let's get back to the real world of what the hell's going on, because all this is a red flag to divert their attention away from everything else that's going on.
Got it.
Everything else is like all these protesters. Yes, they're paid protesters protesting ICE. The Democrats want to push all this legislation. Oh, body cameras. Yeah, most definitely. But they want them to unmask. They want to see their names on their uniforms just like regular police. Kind of like, well, you can't do that because you have detectives that's in certain things where they're trying to undercover. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like you don't want these people to be known who they are and what they do for a living. But yet these Democrats are pushing this because it's a hot topic. They're pushing this. Now, you know this as well as I do because you've had more experience in the law enforcement field via your connections. But you know, a lot of that is they're doing it for a reason. So not only to go after the people, but so they can actually go after people's family because they've already done that. They went after some of these ICE agents' families already. And look what they did in the church. Don Lemon, yes, he's guilty as anybody because he was in there just doing it right along with them.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing about it is the Democrats are trying to divert your attention away from things that's important. Now, why are they going after ICE so hard in Minnesota? Why are they doing the protesters so hard in Minnesota? Because they're trying to divert your attention away from all the fraud.
Yep.
That's what they're trying to do. Now, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Think about how the government diverts your attention away from everything that's going on. When stuff starts coming out at being real, The very next day, there's something new going on, and they're going to divert your attention completely away from it. In every news station, what supposedly news, ABC, NBC, CNN, whoever, Fox, whatever, whoever, they all do it. Every one of them do it. They will not stay on a true story, but they'll follow these red flags and divert your attention away from it. What's really happening.
Yep. You got it, man. You got to drive that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I wanted to get to this story for it's pretty important. They basically, our embassy over there in the Middle East is telling all Americans, get out of Iran now.
Yep.
Like right now. And basically on Friday, I think it's Friday when this came down, the U.S. State Department issued a warning urging American citizens to leave Iran immediately due to worsening security conditions, citing a list of open border crossings. On Friday, the U.S. virtual Iran embassy published a security alert dated for Friday saying U.S. citizens should expect continued internet outages, plan alternative means of communication, and if safe to do so, consider departing Iran by land to Armenia or Turkey. The embassy cited increased security measures, road closures, public transportation disruptions, and internet blockages. The Iranian government imposed a nationwide internet shutdown on January the 8th. Wow. To reduce anti-government protests across all 31 provinces across the country over economic hardship and long-standing discontent. So, look, man, I mean, if this has got to be the best opportunity we've had to take that regime out.
Mm-hmm.
Right now. Their economy's collapsing. They're running out of water. The regime's on its back foot. The Ayatollah is basically hiding in a bunker like a little cockroach. You know, that's what they need to exterminate them, just like cockroaches, like they are.
Well, they've been exterminating the protesters. That's why they don't go out no more.
They're saying upwards of 30,000 they've killed, executed them, shot them in the back of the head in the middle of the street. I mean, folks, they're murdering their own people, all because their people are rising up against their government.
Well, what most people don't realize about that country too is I do, because I'm old enough to. But in the 70s, before the Ayatollahs took over, nobody wore hijabs over there. Women wore bikinis at the beach. They wore dresses. Really? They wore dresses, high heel shoes, all sorts of stuff. You could swear it's another version of America, the way people dressed. They listened to rock and roll music. They listened to all this other kind of music and everything. But then all of a sudden, the Ayatollahs this regime took over. Everybody had to start paying attention to, wearing hijabs and, Muslim this, Muslim that, and you're going to start doing this religious this. You can do honor killings and all this stuff. Well, in the 60s and 70s, Iran was one of the most beautiful countries you could think of. And they had the Shah of Iran in there. And you might be too young to remember anything about the Shah, but the Shah kind of had some stuff going. And then after the Shah, everything went to hell in a handbasket. And that's when they started killing everybody and just doing everything you could think of. I remember I told Khomeini, he killed, there was like 800 people who killed in one day because they didn't agree with him. And it was men, women, and children. And I remember when I was in the military, they said there's two forces that we got to think about taking on. One of them was the Rock Army of China. And they said it's going to be the most dangerous one. And the other one that's going to be real easy to wipe out would be Iran. Well, it would be at that time. But think about, all these people are saying boo-hoo this, boo-hoo that. But you look at Iran, all right, you want to say boo-hoo? How about you pack your bags, move to Iran, go live under their system, and tell me how you like it. And then tell me if you're going to still say boo-hoo Iran. Go tell me if you like the way the Ayatollah is running things over there. You don't. But yes, this is a prime time for us to kind of help Iran get back where it used to be. Now, Iran used to be a very productive country back in the 60s and 70s, early 80s. It was very productive, but not no more. Now it's just a parking lot that has people in it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's I think it's getting ready to go hot over there from the sounds of it. I know the Abraham Lincoln is in the Persian Gulf, I believe. Their battle group, and then the Roosevelt battle group is in the Red Sea, or no, they're in the Mediterranean. So they got them surrounded.
Well, back in the day when Jimmy Carter was president, and I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember this, but Jimmy Carter sent the SEALs over to get a bunch of students that's being held hostage in the university in Iran. And guess what happened? A bunch of SEALs got killed right on the beach because they knew they was coming.
Navy SEALs?
The news people told them they were coming. So they they killed a bunch of them right there on the beach, but they got the students out. They got in there and got the students out when Carter was president.
Yeah, I was too young to know that. What year was that?
No shit. I'm too old to remember that. When was that? That was in the 70s, 80s.
Huh. Wow.
That was when Carter was president. He was one of our one-term presidents.
Huh. Wow. Killed him right on the beach, huh?
Oh yeah. They was waiting for him.
Oh, geez. Wow.
And why do you think the Iran-Contra deal was so big back then? With all of the war.
Iran-Contra affair, yeah. Yeah, that's that almost sounds like the story of the Qataris when the United States said that the feds were coming to pick up the Qasem Soleimani, and the Qataris flew him out of there, or hit him out or whatever, so the FBI couldn't and the CIA couldn't come get him. And what was it, 2 weeks later, 9/11 happened?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's the guy KSM, the Qataris and stuff at Tucker Qatarelson. That's who he's sleeping with now. He said he's going to buy a house in Qatar. I don't know what the hell's happening.
Here's one of the biggest problems I have. Our youth of today don't get taught this kind of history. They have no idea the history of this kind of stuff. Yep. So they're only going by what they hear from the news and all these people paying these protesters. That's all they hear. Yep. They don't actually hear what the truth is and what's really happening on in the history of it. It's just kind of like it's so damn aggravating. Now I got a major problem with these protesters, but mine is more on a personal level. I'm an old guy. All right, I'm what do they call it? Generation Jones. I'm not a boomer and I'm not a Gen X, but I'm a Jones. Now, here's one of the problems I have. When I grew up, somebody get in your face and start spitting on you and hollering at you, we just knocked the living shit out of you.
Yep.
If you wouldn't get back, mind your manners, we start dancing. But yet, these kids are so used to getting away with everything. And I mean everything.
No respect for authority.
That people are not standing up. The general public is not standing up to these protesters. Well, they're not protesters. They're creating insurrections. They're not protesters. They are anarchists. They are, for lack of a better term, they're domestic terrorists. But yet, the American person has been drilled in their head. Don't stand up for yourself. Don't stand up for what you think is right. Don't defend yourself. You got to let all this shit happen to you. Well, I tell you what, I'm old enough to know better. And if I get a bunch of yahoos like that coming at me, I don't care if I get my ass whooped or not. Somebody's getting their teeth knocked down their throat, because I ain't going to tolerate somebody in my face yelling at me and screaming at me with some bullhorn and doing this loud buzz thing or anything. If you're going to sit there, and here's the funny part is, most of those protesters, their faces are covered.
Yeah. Yep. They want ICE to take their mask off.
But yet they want to get in your face, holler at you. Why has the American man quit defending himself? Why has the American man become such a wimp that they do not stand up to these people and say enough is enough? When was the last time you seen a damn city of people come out and say it's time for y'all to leave, and the entire city come out and run them out of town?
Yep.
It's been a hell of a long time since that's happened.
Well, supposedly there's foreign governments that are involved with these protesters. They're funding them.
Mm-hmm.
George Soros, I think the Communist Chinese. Chris, did you see that story the other day about that Chinese national that had a bio lab underground in California and has been in prison for 3 years? And Christopher Wray and Biden refused to go raid his home in Las Vegas, where they found over 1,000 bio agents in another lab underground, of which one of them was a COVID virus.
Yep.
Herpes and all kinds of shit. And this guy's, I mean, Chinese national.
I've been saying this for years. Our country has gone to hell in a handbasket. And I blame it on several things. One is the way people raise their kids today. Mm-hmm. You know, as long as they got this and a boob tube.
That's right.
And video games, that's all that matters. Yep. They don't teach them responsibility anymore. They don't teach them morals. They don't teach them respect. They don't teach them honor. They let them do whatever they want them to do. Now, we come from a generation, like I said, we come from the boomers, where they'd rather just beat the hell out of you for doing something wrong than anything. Okay, not a problem. You learned the first time. If you didn't, well, you'd get it again. And you'd get it until you figured it out. But yet we learned how to suck it up and be a man and know what's right and what's wrong pretty damn fast. But these kids today, they're being raised in the environment where they don't have to do anything. And because if you raise enough problems, then people are going to do what you want them to do. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. You know, we got an environment now, people won't even work. Look how many protesters are out there, and that's their job. And like one guy said, who was it? Tom Holman said, most of those people ain't even from Minnesota. 90% of them are paid, and they come from out of state. That is their job.
Yeah.
Is to go protest.
Yep.
And trust me, they're making more money than you and I put together to go do that. And anytime they get arrested, they're bailed out instantly.
Yeah.
And 99% of the cases, they're all thrown out. But I got a problem with the American people, how they're not standing up to these nitwits. These little shits think they know everything there is to know when they don't know nothing. They have no clue how the real world works. But yet they're the first ones when they get in trouble to cry, mama. Come bail me out, mama.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do it. Oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo.
Yeah. Sitting in their parents' basement in their banana hammock eating Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to, speaking of Iran and the Middle East, I was going to go over this real quick. The Secretary of War has fast-tracked, you know, as he was talking, you know, they've launched the build of the F-47. Well, now the M1E3 Abrams tanks is a hybrid drive silent killer. Army's new Abrams tank. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has his, quote, Arsenal of Freedom tour in full swing, visiting the nuclear submarine production floor at Newport News, Virginia, and Blue Origin space launch at Cape Canaveral, Florida, which is not far from me. His goal, restore American industrial prowess and secure freedom for generations to come. You'll never guess which program is moving fastest of all. It's the Army's new M1E3 Abrams tank. Get this, the M1E3 Abrams is 5 years ahead of schedule. Yes, 5 years, and it's a hybrid. While Golden Dome missile defense, the battleship design, and other programs are on the drawing board, the Army has accelerated the M1E3 Abrams to wartime pace. Credit Army Chief of Staff General Randy George and Secretary of the Army Dan Driscoll. It's part of their push to accelerate top programs like the MV-75 air assault tilt rotor plane. In the case of the tank, the Army had been studying upgrades and watching the Ukraine war. George and his science advisor, Dr. Alex whatever, were told they would not see the tank until 2032. We said no. The result is the M1E3 prototype rolled out at the Detroit Auto Show in January. The first platoon of the M1E3 will be ready for testing by soldiers in 2028. Wow. Let's see.
Along.
Formula One cockpit. M1E3 tank has a driver interface that, quote, looks like an Xbox controller, said George. Just as important, the tank uses a modular plug-and-play open system software backbone. Soldiers can plug in new apps and upgrade it at a point in the vehicle software where all the things that make the vehicle run are protected. It has a quiet mode. It's a hybrid. No, the Army isn't going eco-friendly. The M1E3 will have a Caterpillar diesel engine and a SAPA transmission that allows it to switch into electric mode. The hybrid electric drive is all about silent stalking. Iraqis facing the Abrams in 91 called it whispering death. It has an active protection. Shoot at an Abrams and, quote, active protection will detect, target, and obliterate you. This is the Army's term for a system that can sort out a whole range of incoming threats from recoilless, so basically a rifle without recoil, to anti-tank guided missiles, rockets, tank rounds, and rocket-propelled grenades, and, of course, drones. It has a reactive armor, already an Abrams standard. Tiles fitted on the tank hull prevent penetration by RPGs and deflect blasts downward or outwards, depending on the tactical situation. The Army really doesn't like to talk about this secretive system, but guarantee you the M1E3 will improve on it. It has great guns. Let's see. It has a 30 millimeter chain gun, replaces both the 50 cal and the loader's gun. The 30 millimeter can hit light armor vehicles like the Russian BMP. It can also chew up drones. By the way, this is a tank on a diet. Older Abrams models weigh close to 80 tons. Expect the M1E3 to weigh in at about 60 tons after shedding top turret armor. Lighter weight yields about 40% greater fuel efficiency. It also allows the M1E3 tank to access 30% more bridge crossings in Poland and other NATO Eastern frontline countries facing Russia. So I'm not going to read the whole thing if you want. Man, this Joker here is a bad dude, Chris.
Yep.
They got pictures of it and everything right here.
Yeah, when I was in Germany, we had Abrams over there. And that was when they was first coming out. Let me tell you, there's something else. I remember sleeping on the back of them one time up when we was up in Grafenbeer. It was cold. It was probably 40 below. We sleeping on top of the motor. You stayed nice and toasty warm with that thing.
Oh,
but yeah, when they're in travel mode and you're doing your exercise and they put it on silent, yeah, it's whispering death. That's for damn sure. But those tanks are phenomenal. They are phenomenal what they can do. I mean, it's just amazing. And if these new ones are better than the M1 A1s, hey, go for it.
Yeah. Well, by 2028, the soldiers will be testing them.
The only problem I have, though, it's a well-known fact. Anything that runs off of software can be hacked. So that's the only downside I can see. If that sucker is going to be fully integrated with electronics and software, I can see problems with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, nothing's really foolproof when it has something to do with the software end of it. It's almost next to impossible to foolproof stuff like that. I mean, hell, I mean the CIA and stuff, their systems have software, and I don't know. Every once in a while they get hacked too, so
Yep.
never know. But yeah, that's pretty cool though. I'm all about modernization, and that F-47 jet's going to be. Whatever happened to that plane that the Qataris supposedly gave us? It was going to replace Air Force One until Boeing finally got their head out of their ass and got us our planes. I don't agree with taking that plane, man. They probably got secret crap hidden all in that thing.
Yeah. Well, that thing is probably sitting somewhere. It's not ever going to be used.
Yeah, that'd probably be the safest thing to do because I don't know. The CIA is probably going over it with a fine tooth comb, trying to sniff everything out. But I don't put nothing past him. Nothing past him. Camel jockeys over there in the desert.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So, all right. Was there anything you wanted to talk about?
Well, you wanted to talk about this Nancy Guthrie, and all I know is what I've been hearing on the radio, on talk radio, and something don't sound right with that deal. I don't know who this lady is, and they say she's the mom of some reporter somewhere.
Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show.
I don't have the slightest idea who's the mom, who's all these people are. But just from what I'm hearing, they're sending these ransom notes to different TV stations and this, that, and the other, and there's no proof of life. It's kind of like something here just isn't adding up.
Ain't passing the smell test to me, and that ain't since the day it started.
No, it's just something's not copacetic with this whole thing. But yet, it's got people's attention, because there are people out there who follow celebrities and have their heroes in the celebrity field. And so it's got all them people tied to this thing 100%. So their attention's off of everything else, and now it's on this. But, it could be real. It could be true. But my gut's telling me there's something else going on here.
Yeah, the one sister's house, they were even over there last night doing checking for blood splatter that the naked eye can't see, with that aluminol stuff but you can only do it at nighttime with the flash on the walls and stuff like that. That's like the 4th or 5th time they've been to the sister's house. It's just something with her has been off since it all started. I don't know. Typically the last one to see the victim before they went missing or whatever is pretty much the one that's guilty of the disappearing or whatever happens. Not all the time, but most of the time. And
like I said, there's just something's not adding up.
No, something definitely is not adding up. And that sheriff out there ought to be ashamed of himself. Within the first 12 hours of her going missing, the guy turns the crime scene, clears the crime scene before the FBI can even show up. There's still blood on the daggum sidewalk leading from the lady's house to her driveway, Chris.
Yep.
For the media to go up there and take pictures of it and post it all over social media. It's like, what?
See, that's another problem I have. The media has made it to where, and all these social media sites has made it to where people nowadays they're not shocked by anything anymore.
No.
Granted, I've been around a lot of stuff in my lifetime. When I was in the military, I've seen a lot of things that I wish I never would have. And I've done some things and, had to shoot some people and stuff like that. But needless to say, in today's society, I mean, you can go on anything and see videos of people being shot, beheaded, killed, burned alive, whatever, ran over, and it doesn't shock anybody no more. The shock factor's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of another thing's gone is people saying, what the hell? What's wrong with our country? Why is this okay for people to see? Why is this okay for them to put out there to show everybody? It's kind of like, this ain't okay. They don't need to be releasing pictures of blood everywhere on social media. They don't need to be doing that.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk getting shot live on
TV. They say it's freedom of information. Well, there is no freedom of information when there's still an investigation going on.
Yep.
You know that as well as I do, that the only time anything can be released is after the investigation's done, the case is over, and everything's said and done.
Yep.
But nowadays, it's kind of like, oh, let's get this out there so everybody can see it before anything's ever done. And they don't even know. I don't even know if this is a real deal or if this is just all a whole big hoax or what.
I don't think it's a real deal, man. I think she's been dead from the start. And they're maybe a foreign government's toying around with these people, or somebody's toying with them, I think.
Something's just not right in this whole scenario.
No, something's definitely off. So I'll be curious to see how it all turns out, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hope the lady's alive. I mean, it's a sad situation, but no matter
it is.
No matter somebody's, view on Savannah Guthrie. And Savannah Guthrie was the one that did that town hall with Trump, and she just bludgeoned the guy. I mean, just cut him off, wouldn't let him talk, asked him the stupidest of questions.
Oh, that's who that is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And she never would let him say exactly what was what.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. Wouldn't call Biden out for anything. It was all Trump, 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 Trump. And, that was that town hall back in like 20, I don't know. 20.
Well, you got to hand it to him for staying there as long as he did and dealing with her.
Yep.
I mean, that shows something right there, because I would have walked out pretty damn fast.
You know the class that Trump has, though? He picked up the phone as soon as her mom went missing. He picked the phone up and he called Savannah and expressed his condolences and said, listen, I'm freeing up all federal assets that are available to go to Arizona and help in finding your mother.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy he is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, something's just not right. But anyway,
no,
it's just, and I go back to saying this, we got a man who's doing everything he can to make things better. And our country has just gone to hell in a handbasket. It really has. Just in my short 61 years of living, I've seen some changes that I never would have imagined would be happening right now in our own country. And one of the things that's really become very evident is how much you might not want to agree to this, ladies and gentlemen, but your everyday life is dictated by politics. By all them people that you hired and put up there in Washington, D.C., remember this, you can fire them from their job. But why don't you? Why don't you fire them if they're not doing the job you hired them to do to make things better for you where you live? It's just like having a job. If you hire somebody to do the job and they're not doing the job that you hired them to do, why keep them on?
All right, yeah.
You wouldn't keep them on just because you're your friend or that you like them. No, business is business. And that's what those people are. They are your employee. They represent you as an employee. You are their employer. So why don't you fire them? Mm-hmm. And how can these people keep getting elected for 40 freaking years when they've done nothing to make your life better, your state better, your city, your county, whatever? But yet at the same time, they become multimillionaires.
Yeah. Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
I mean, I don't give a shit what side you're looking at, the Republicans or the Democrats. It's all the same.
Yep.
And one of the biggest knotheads out there, Dan Crenshaw, Mr. One-Eyed Wannabe Popeye Man.
Mm-hmm.
Look at him. Become multi-millionaire. AOC's become multi-millionaire. Bernie Sanders became multi-millionaire.
Nancy Pelosi's the big one.
Oh, Nancy Pelosi's the biggest multi-millionaire out there. And she was running in office when Kennedy was president.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, think about it. If you hired them to represent you And the condition our country's in right now, why do you keep hiring them?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you hire somebody else that can do a better job and put term limits on them? Why don't you put term limits on them? Who says that only the Congress can get that done? No, your state can get that done. Your state can say, we're going to elect you as a senator or a House Representative member in Washington, D.C., but we're going to make a term limit for you. Now, if you don't go on government, congress.gov or house.gov and look at all the legislation that's always being done and how much 99% of it is a crock of crap, I advise you to. Go see what your representatives are actually doing, and go see if your representative has actually, ever since they've been in office, ever submitted paperwork for a bill. That's a challenge I have for each and every one of you. Go see if your representative, I don't give a shit if it's a congressperson or a House representative person, go see what kind of legislation, if any, that they have submitted to be a bill.
Yep. Do your part. Everybody's got to do their part, you know.
I'll digress.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. No, they want everybody else to do it for them.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Well,
all right, buddy. Well, I think we touched on everything we wanted to touch on here. Let me see.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. It was fun. And like I always say, you set on a wooden fence too long, you're gonna get a splinter in your butt.
That's right. And until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye for now. Take care.